Good morning and welcome to this morning's reflection. Today we're going to be looking at the book of Luke, chapter 1, reading from verse 5. During the rule of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest assigned service in the regiment of Abijah. His name was Zachariah. His wife was descended from the daughters of Aaron. Her name was Elizabeth. Together they lived honorably before God, careful in keeping to the ways of the commandments and enjoying a clear conscience before God. But they were childless because Elizabeth could never conceive, and now they were quite old. And so it happened that as Zachariah was carrying out his priestly duties before God, working the shift assigned to his regiment, it came to his one turn in life to enter the sanctuary of God and burn incense. The congregation was gathered and praying outside of the temple at the hour of the incense offering. And unannounced, an angel of God appeared just to the right of the altar of incense, and Zachariah was paralyzed with fear. But the angel reassured him, "Don't fear, Zachariah. Your prayer has been heard. Elizabeth, your wife, will bear a son by you. You are to name him John. You are going to leap like a gazelle for joy. And not only you, many will delight in his birth. And he will achieve great stature with God." Now, every descendant of Aaron was automatically a priest. That meant that there were too many priests, not a problem we suffer from today. And so these many priests were then divided into 24 sections. It was only at Passover, at Pentecost, and at the Feast of the Tabernacles that they all came to serve. For the rest of the year, the priests served 2 periods of 1 week each. And they really looked forward to that time because it was a time that they could exercise their ministry. Now, a priest could only marry a woman of pure Jewish lineage, and if the woman was a descendant of Aaron, so much the better. Elizabeth was a descendant of Aaron. Now, there were around 20,000 priests in all, and that meant that there was not far short of 1,000 priests in each section. Every morning and every evening, sacrifices were made for the whole nation. Now, before and after the morning sacrifice, and after every sacrifice in the evening, incense was burned, so that the sacrifices might go up to God wrapped in sweet-smelling incense. It was possible that many priests might never have the privilege of burning incense in the temple, never ever have that privilege in all of his life. But if he was chosen, it would be the greatest day of his life. The greatest day. So on this day, the lot falls on Zachariah. And you can imagine that he would have been thrilled to his core. So special would have been this occasion to participate in this ritual in the temple. Now we know that Zachariah's life was tragic because he had no children. The Jewish rabbis would say that people would be excommunicated from God for particular reasons, and one of these reasons would be that the person had no wife, or they might have a wife but no children. So people who were childless were pitied. They lacked stature and status in community. And in fact, childlessness was a valid reason for divorce. So it's natural that on this day, as great as it was, Zachariah would be bringing to God this deep concern in his life that he had not been blessed with children. And then God comes in the form of an angel and gives him hope. God comes and speaks through the angel Gabriel and says, "You will have a son." Now we may wish that we too could hear from God in the same way, that we might have our heart's desires and our heart's longings met by some word from God. But if we want to hear God, we have to be prepared to be still long enough to hear those words. Zachariah was doing just that. He was waiting on God. He was going about the work that God had given to him, and at the same time sharing his heart's desire. God's voice comes to those who wait on God, who go about doing what God has called them to do, and who share their innermost desires, fears, who have a conversational relationship with God. God's voice comes to those who listen. As we come to this Christmas time, what is it that you, like Zachariah, would be wanting to bring before God? What deeply intimate and private longings fill your heart? Share those longings, and then be open to listening. Listen to your own soul. Listen to what's happening inside of you. Notice the movements within. Where do you feel? Where does your soul feel at peace? Where is there a sense of love, hope, and joy? Notice what others may say to you at this time. Be attentive to your life. Be attentive to what God might be saying to you in the very intricate details of your life. Be reflective. Be open. God is there and God does speak. We need to hear.